handicap and running. And settling down in the early stages, Midnight Legend on the inside. Midnight Legend with Red Route well placed. Amancio towards the outside. Just behind them come Durable and also German Street. Back marker at the moment is Acting Brave. And towards the left of the picture as we see them, it's Midnight Legend with Amancio up on his outside. Areciba is close in behind them. Then on the inside, Red Route, and also well up there, German Street, and they're going a really blistering gallop and just coming down to the milestone, and Amancio has taken it up under Cash Asmussen. Amancio from Midnight Legend, then Areciba, and then Red Route. Just in behind Red Route is German Street, and then comes Alcove towards the outside, and then Durable on the inner, and still the back marker is Acting Brave, and Amancio still making it. From Midnight Legend in second, Areciba third, Red Route next, and then comes Alcove on the outside with German Street next, followed by Durable. Latam is making quite good progress, and so is Bashir, but still Amancio making it the top weight. From in second, Midnight Legend. Then comes Areciba. Then with his white face showing to the outside of Areciba is Alcove. As they race now towards the home turn in the King George V handicap, and it's Amancio and Midnight Legend who've been right up there from the outset, being tracked by Areciba. Then on the inside comes German Street. On the outer is Alcove as they swing into the turn now and round it. And it's Amancio still on the fence from Midnight Legend. Just in behind them, Red Route making good progress, then Areciba, and Alcove making ground towards the stand side with Latam coming there too. Over on the far side now, the leader is Midnight Legend from Red Route. It's Midnight Legend from Red Route. Then comes Durable in third place, racing up towards the line, and it's Midnight Legend from Red Route and Durable as they come to the line. Midnight Legend from Red Route and Durable, that's how they're going to finish. Midnight Legend is the winner, Red Route is second, and Durable third, and running on to be fourth was Mystic Hill. Behind Mystic Hill came Latam, and then Kartikeya and Alcove. And so the result of the King George V handicap, first, number 16, Midnight Legend, owned by Umquan Racing, trained by Luca Cumani and ridden by Jason Weaver, his 93rd winner of the season, Jason. Second was number 4, Red Route, owned by Clifton Start, trained by Henry Cecil and ridden by Michael Canan. And third was number 12, Durable, owned by Mr. Herbert Allen, trained by John Gosden and ridden by Frankie Dettori. Fourth was number 3, Mystic Hill.
It's a race in which it always hopes to have a good position, and Jason was always on the first two, and Midnight Legend went on early in the straight. Michael Canan also was always handy on Red Route, had every chance, 2 furlongs out, looked a real winner, but Midnight Legend, well handicapped, proved to have the most resources. Durable's running through into third place. Latam flattered for a moment, as did Alcove in the pale colours. Coming through with the red cap on the rails, but all too late is Mystic Hill, who had a bad position turning into the straight. Active Brave was beaten after half a furlong. But on the run-in here, Jason Weaver, his first Ascot winner of the season. This young man riding with such confidence, holds his horse together. He just wobbled a little bit when he came under pressure on this firm, increasingly firm ground at the furlong marker. But now he's moving well again in the last furlong of the race, as Red Route seems to come to the end of his stamina, his first run over 1.5 miles. Durable's pulling him back without getting in a real blow. So Luca Cumani gains his second success of the Royal Meeting. And this is the view that the huge portion of 70,000 people here on Ladies' Day have of the first race winner, flashing past the post, a horse you could make a chance for 12 or 14 to 1 shot, and Jason Weaver now a very popular jockey. Red Route, Michael Canan second, Durable.
And Owington drifting up now, was 6 to 1 this morning, into 3 to 1 now, up to 4 to 1. Mutakdim is 13 to 2 from 6 to 1. Money arriving for Catrail, 7 to 1 from 8, as Redoubtable drifts up to 8 to 1. College Chapel 2 just been nibbled out at 10 to 1, down to 9 to 1 now. Then they go 12 to 1, So Factual. 12 to 1 Keen Hunter from 14, Marina Park and Lake Coniston both 16 to 1, 20 to 1 Bar.
Well, we're seeing Catrail on his way down to the start now. We're going to try and find another one of John Gosden's runners, Keen Hunter, and he'd had no trouble going down to the start. He's been lightly raced for a 7-year-old, and this in fact will be his 15th start. He's proved himself a group sprinter and ran a cracking race when a length second. That was behind College Chapel in this race last year, in fact. He also turned in a good performance when third in the blanket finish to Locksong in the King George Stakes at Goodwood. He handles Ascot 6 furlongs well, and although this is his first run of the season, he should be thereabouts. He looks a picture, John Gosden can get him ready to run first time up, can't he?
Yes, but unfortunately this horse has a big penalty for his Group 1 wins. 4-year-olds and upwards should be carrying 8 stone 10, and Keen Hunter manages to collect penalties totaling £11, so it's asking a lot of him to win first time out, giving all that weight away, but he is a high-class horse and it certainly isn't impossible. He has had a bit of support into 12 to 1 from 14 to 1. I remember him winning very easily first time out at Newbury one season.
Michael Cannan in the saddle, and looks like running away with the Ritz Club trophy here for the 4 days at Royal Ascot. This is number 14, Redoubtable, the mount of Richard Quinn. Not a bad 2-year-old, finishing third in the Middle Park and fifth in the Dewhurst, 2 of our top 2-year-old races. He was runner-up on his last start when beaten ahead by Eurolink Thunder. That was at Haydock 12 days ago. I don't think he's going to mind the fast ground, John.
No, he's one of the few horses, or few of the fancied horses in the race, that will actually like the fast ground. He's 8 to 1 from 7 to 1. Most of them would definitely prefer a bit of cut.
Richard Hannon trains this one, and he's got him looking well as well. There's number 5, this is Marina Park. Doesn't know how to run a bad race last year. After dead heating at Doncaster, ran second on 3 occasions. She's 16 to 1 from 14 to 1 at the moment. She went all the way to Hong Kong, in fact, to run in the International Bowl at Sha Tin. She ran her heart out, in fact, and she was second, but she never gave in all the way through the last quarter of a mile.
She's got a lot of ground to make up on Owington, on York running, Jimmy, when Owington won and she was back in 8th place, but she had a terrible run from halfway. She was trapped near the rails, could never get out, and so you could ignore that run completely. She's a very good filly.
16, Selhurst Park Flyer. He just walked through our picture. Number 15, Royal Insignia, walks up. There, we just had a look at her, Marina Park. She's going to go into stall 7. Just waiting to go in. She gets the blinds on. She'll be going Marina Park into stall 7. Getting a little bit of help. In fact, is number 17, the mount of Kevin Darley. These sprinters walking round are nice and quiet, nice and collected. When you think they'll be running this 6 furlongs back in a minute and something, a minute and change. And I wouldn't be at all surprised today if we don't see one of the track records broken here.
Lake Coniston, number 11. Just going in, and all the way winner at Yarmouth last time out when dropped back in distance to 6 furlongs. Here's Owington. He's a bit warm. One of them that's already in the stalls is College Chapel, who's the best turned out. Christy Ryan, who looks after him, gets £100. Redoubtable, the yellow cap, will be the next one to go in by the look of it. With the blinkers, for the first time, Watani, we'll see him in a moment, but Redoubtable going in quite calmly with Richard Quinn. Watani with the first time blinkers. Hamdan Al Maktoum's runner with the distinguishing black cap. There's the all blue colours of So Factual, who went down early. That's why we didn't see him in the paddock. He had permission to go down to the start early. Going in To stall 12 with Ray Cochrane, surprise offer. And Pat Edery going in next. And I think
Piccolo, I think, John, given a little bit of trouble there. Piccolo will be going into stall 17, as you say. We've got Lester, Pat Edery about to go in a surprise offer. One to go, let's go to Peter.
That's it. And they're running a blistering start by Marina Park, also very fast Royal Insignia, Ovington showing very good foot too, coming down after covering a furlong, and Royal Insignia, Marina Park, College Chapel right up there in the centre too. Also showing very good speed is Watani in the centre. Watani the overall leader now in the blinkers. Watani the leader. From on the far side, Catrail, Marina Park and College Chapel right over on the far side with surprise offer. On the near side, it's Keen Hunter being followed by Ovington. They're coming down now towards the 2 furlong pole, and it's Watani from on the far side, Catrail. Watani and Catrail, Ovington coming there on the stand side now to dispute it. It's Ovington on the stand side. Catrail on the far side. Between horses is So Factual, but Ovington has taken it up now as they race into the closing stages. It's Ovington from So Factual putting in a tremendous run on the far side. Ovington and So Factual as they come to the line. Ovington's going to win it. Ovington's the winner. So Factual is second, and third is Catrail. 4 Redoubtable. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 1994 Cork and Orrery Stakes. With the result: first, number 8, Ovington, owned by Baron G. von Ullman, trained by Jeff Ragg and ridden by Michael Hills, his second winner of the Royal Meeting. Second, number 9, So Factual, owned by Godolphin Racing, trained by Hilal Ibrahim and ridden by Ray Cochrane. Third was number 2, Catrail, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by John Gosden and ridden by Frankie Dettori, with fourth, number 14, Redoubtable. This is the winner, Ovington.
Brilliant performance by the winner, always travelling well on the right with the noseband there. In the centre, Leicester had shown a lot of speed early on in College Chapel, but now dropping out fourth from the left. Also quick to drop out was Mutaktim, never travelling at all. At the furlong marker, Ovington hits the front, and there's one challenger, So Factual, the horse who went down to post early, in the blue colours now, runs a terrific race. Catrail's there in the front line, but can't find any more. Redoubtable on the far side also. But Ovington, once he's got there, shows his true quality. For a second it looked as though So Factual might pull him back, but Ovington, Michael Hills, had things under control. A top sprinter, this 3-year-old, endorsing his fine performance at York. He goes on to win the Cork and Orrery today from So Factual, the 4-year-old, and the two of them are clear of last year's Diadem Stakes winner, Catrail, who turned out to be the best of John Gosden's 3-runner. And that's the view that those on the heath saw as Michael Hills on the far side waves his whip in this good-looking green desert coat with the noseband to keep his head down, winning just cosily from the 4-year-old So Factual, Ray Cochrane riding the Dubai-trained horse. But this was Ovington's day. Look at that action, a real fast ground action, a real sprinter's action. This is his trip, this is his day.
Yes, a cracking performance by the Son of Green Desert out of Old Doomsday Book by High Top. It's been a leanish season by his standards for Jeff Ragg so far, but this a fine compensatory race to win. Number 5 of the season for Jeff, and number 35 for Michael Hills. This is So Factual, and Ray Cochrane, he's run a cracking good race, this 4-year-old. And so Ovington returns to the winner's circle with a clearly very happy Michael Hills after his first success in the Cork and Orrery and his second triumph of this 1994 Royal Meeting, and the full starting prices as follows.
First, number 8, Owington, 4-1 favourite. The second, number 9, So Factual, 12-1. And the third, number 2, Catrail, 8-1.
How well Vintage Crop looks. He's won his preparation race over in Ireland. 11-10 favourite from even, so just going out very slightly in the betting. The going in last year's Gold Cup didn't suit him at all. He was well beaten on soft going, although he can probably act on soft going over a shorter trip. It found him out over the 2.5 miles, but he seemed to stay 2 1/4 well enough, and on fast ground he should certainly stay 2.5. Though it's interesting that none of the runners in the field have won over today's distance.
Quite a lot of them being tried over the distance beyond 2 miles for the first time, John, as you say. But he's taken it all well. He's a seasoned traveller, Vintage Crop, when you think he's been all the way to Australia. And as you say, also an Irish Ledger winner as well, John. He's got a lot of class, this stayer. So this is Rain Trap, that journeyed all the way from France. He won the Cagoule at Deauville, which is a pretty sharp track. He showed good speed that day. He also went on to win the French St Leger, the Prix Royal Oak, and that was a good performance, John.
Yes, he seems to like soft going, but he has got fair form on fast ground as well. 11-2 from 5-1. He's disputing second favouritism, so the favourites from Ireland, the second or third favourite is from France. Let's get some latest betting from Graham Brock.
And Vintage Crop just easing fractionally out to 11-10 from evens. Then they go 11-2 My Patriarch and Rain Trap. Then 8-1 Sonus, and here comes the gamble. Oh, So Risky, now down to 14-1. 16-1 Safety in Numbers. Then 25-1 Arcadian Heights and Corouge. 50-1 Morley Street.
The runners are cantering down the straight to get to the 2.5 mile start. You can run this races in 2 spurts, especially a horse like My Patriarch, because when you get him settled, as you get to that crowd, they start to give a little bit of a cheer as the horses come past, and a lot of the runners think that it's the end of the race, not the beginning, and just after you've got them settled, you've done all the work, they set off with you again. But as I say, I think we'll see Cashas Musen biding his time early on. It's a nice climb all the way up to the winning post, actually, until you get under the 1.5 mile start over at the top of Swindley Bottom. They're climbing nearly all the way, so it is quite a nice track to get a horse settled. Courage, number 2, was trained last season in France by Andre Fabre, winning on a couple of occasions, and I think he's done pretty well since he joined Twiston Davis, hasn't he, John?
Yes, Nigel Twiston Davis has done very well with Corouge, second to the brilliant Danoli at Cheltenham at the National Hunt Festival, and he's the only runner in the field, Jimmy, that I can find that might go off in front, because nearly all the others need holding up, and as we've said, none of them have won over the trip yet. And if for any reason the connections of Corouge decide that they don't want to make the running with him, I don't know what we are going to see making it a proper test.
No, and that would make actually Cash's job even more harder on my Patriarch, because he's a bit keen when he leaves the stalls. He'll be looking for a good gallop, John.
Among the supporters of Corouge here today is Carl Llewellyn, who rides him over hurdles. At least he did until he broke his leg, and Carl's here, and one of the things he did today was to take his crutches back to the local hospital here, and this was the course that he had the misfortune to break his leg at, down at the start before a novice chase had even taken place.
$11-10 Vintage Crop, 11-2 My Patriarch and Rain Trap, 8-1 Sonus, and now 12-1 Oh So Risky, 33-1 this morning into 12-1 fifth favourite, 16-1 Bar.
Let's have a look at Oh So Risky now. There he is. He looks a picture, John. He's been twice second in the champion hurdle. Give him a chance today.
Well, there seems to be some support for him, Jimmy. He's come right down to 12 to 1 from a very much bigger price. Whatever happens in the race, he's won David Croft, who looks after him, £100 for the best turned out award. Well, they're going into the stalls pretty promptly. Only just after time, even though they've gone through that long parade, but the French horse, Rain Trap, is not too keen on going into the stalls. There are different stalls in France, of course, Jimmy.
It's a very unusual, John, for a French horse. Usually they're absolutely brilliant going into the stalls, nearly all of them out there. So a lot of them walk in by themselves, but he's just taken a little bit of trouble. Rain Trap, the blinds go on. Pat's still looking to get off that 59 winner mark. He's been trying to reach the 60 now for a bit of time. I wonder if Rain Trap is going to get him off it here today. You see there, Pat's just got his hand on the blindfolds, and this is a good move by the jockeys, I think, because if you remember, we had one actually got rid of his jockey with the blindfold still on, and he took off with the blindfold loose on his own. So I think it's rather nice if the jocks do keep the hand on it. Well, he's gone in nice and quietly now. We've got a quick flash at the betting. We've got Vintage Crop 21 to 20, My Patriarch at 11 to 2, Rain Trapper we've just seen going at 11 to 2, 8 to 1 bar those, My Patriarch, one of the last. The last one to go in, I think, is Vintage Crop. Peter?
I think we've just got a couple more. Morley Street and Arcadian Heights, and then the 9 runners for the 1994 Ascot Gold Cup, established in 18.7, will be under orders, and that's it. 2.5 miles, and they're running, and Morley Street just dwells a little in the stalls, and Arcadian Heights going on in the early stages. Arcadian Heights from Carouge over on the far side, then Vintage Crop and Sonus, and My Patriarch with Cash Asmussen trying to relax My Patriarch. He's being followed by Safety and Numbers, and then Morley Street, who made up that ground. Oh So Risky in the back marker, Rain Trap, and Arcadian Heights making it from Carouge. Carouge, Nigel Twiston-Davis is Scottish champion hurdle winner and his first ever runner at Royal Ascot, in second here with Vintage Crop, the favourite. Third, then Sonus and My Patriarch, with Cash covering up My Patriarch to the best of his ability, trying to relax him. He's still taking a pretty strong hold, though, being followed by Safety and Numbers. Pat Edery has eased Rain Trap a little bit closer to the lead. Morley Street is next, and then the one-time Prix Gladiateur winner, Oh So Risky, the back marker, and Arcadian Heights, the leader, as they come down to the winning post with another complete circuit. And Arcadian Heights from Carouge, Vintage Crop and Sonus and My Patriarch, and then comes Rain Trap, Safety and Numbers, Morley Street, and finally Oh So Risky. Arcadian Heights by a couple of lengths from Carouge. The favourite, who's taken a pretty strong hold on Michael Cannan, in third. 4 is Sonus, 5 My Patriarch, 6 is Rain Trap, as they begin the run down towards Swinley Bottom. Just 1.5 miles to run now in the Gold Cup, and Arcadian Heights the leader from Carouge. Then Vintage Crop, then Sonus, then My Patriarch, who's taking a very strong hold still under Cash Asmussen. Behind him comes Rain Trap, Safety and Numbers, Morley Street, and then Oh So Risky. Arcadian Heights by a couple of lengths from Carouge, who's 3 lengths up on Vintage Crop, 1.5 lengths then to Sonus, 1.5 lengths or a length possibly only to My Patriarch, a gap of 2 then to Rain Trap, then Safety and Numbers, Morley Street, and Oh So Risky. Running down into Swinley Bottom, and still Arcadian Heights with My Patriarch tugging his way up there, in fact, to challenge him and take it up with a mile. Cash Asmussen clearly sees no point in continuing a battle with him. He's hoping to relax him in front. He's gone to the front on My Patriarch, with Arcadian Heights second. Vintage Crop is third. Oh So Risky's making a good run from the rear now. 7 furlongs to run. And it's My Patriarch from Arcadian Heights and Vintage Crop. Then on the outside, Oh So Risky. Behind Oh So Risky, Carouge, and then Sonus. And behind Sonus is Rain Trap. Morley Street is now the back marker, 1 in front of him and being chased along his safety in numbers. And it's My Patriarch from Arcadian Heights, Vintage Crop. Then Oh So Risky on the outside of Carouge. Sonus getting closer. They're well inside the final half mile now. Arcadian Heights goes back to challenge My Patriarch for the lead as they swing into the home straight here at Ascot. And it's Arcadian Heights and My Patriarch. These two from Vintage Crop. Behind them, Sonus and Oh So Risky coming home well. Arcadian Heights has gone for home now with the challenger, Vintage Crop. Then comes Sonus. And then comes Rain Trap putting in a run as My Patriarch drops out of it. It's Arcadian Heights from Vintage Crop. Arcadian Heights inside the final furlong from Vintage Crop. Arcadian Heights from Vintage Crop as they race up towards the line. Arcadian Heights is holding Vintage Crop. Arcadian Heights is going to win the Gold Cup at the line. Arcadian Heights is the winner. Vintage Crop is second. Sonus is third. Rain Trap 4. Safety numbers 5. 6 is Oh So Risky. 7 is Carouge. 8 is Morley Street. And 9th and last, there was no chance of him getting home. The way he pulled was My Patriarch, and so a sensational result to the 1994 Ascot Gold Cup, and the winner, number 1, Arcadian Heights, owned by Mr. John Pierce, trained by Geoffrey Ragg and ridden by Michael Hills, puts Michael on the 3-winner mark. And what a fantastic double for the trainer and the rider to complete after their triumph in the Cork and Orrery. Second was number 6, the favourite, Vintage Crop, owned by Dr. Michael Smurfit, trained by Michael Cannan, trained by Dermot Weld and ridden by Michael Cannan. And third was number 5, Sonus, owned by Sheikh Mohammed, trained by John Gosden and ridden by Frankie Dettori. Fourth was number 8, Rain Trap, and this is the winner, the 20-to-1 winner of the Gold Cup, Arcadian Heights by Shirley Heights out of Miss Longchamp, up by Northfields, owned and bred by John Pierce.
So a sensational winner of the Gold Cup after an extraordinary race. Arcadian Heights in front early on. Sufferance didn't want to be there. Cash Asmussen, a mile out, decided he must go on My Patriarch. Beaten now. Arcadian Heights back in front again early in the straight, and Vintage Crop, who pulled for the first 6 furlongs, never really settled, unable to accelerate after what was for Michael Cannan a deeply unsatisfactory race. Meanwhile, this horse, who a couple of years ago took a bite out of a horse turning in, isn't mad on being in front. Look at that tail of his swishing round, but now a gelding and running to the line with obvious mixed feelings about is there at Ascot, but nonetheless staying on to beat Vintage Crop and land a 20-to-1 shot after a race which went totally against the form book and totally against the script. Michael Hills, with his hand aloft as he passes the post, the winner of the Gold Cup on Arcadian Heights. What a dramatic result, and a stunned crowd in the centre of the course. See the Irish challenger unable to reel in Arcadian Heights, who led for a mile and a half, took it up again in the straight, and has run on to give Michael Hills a memorable win in Europe's greatest staying race.
So Michael has evened the score with his twin brother Richard, who won this in 1990 on Ashal, and in the process he's completed a marvellous double with the Cork and Orrery for Jeff Ragg, who started the afternoon on the 4-winner mark, Jeff, for the season. And what a triumph for John Pierce, his Hong Kong-based owner, to have both owned and bred this horse by Shirley Heights out of Miss Longchamp. That's John in the dark glasses there. Being congratulated all round, and the starting prices now on the 1994 Gold Cup as follows.
Number 1 first, number 1 Arcadian Heights, 20-1. The second, number 6 Vintage Crop, 11-10 favourite. And third, number 5 Sonus, 8-1. From Ripon, there's a result there. The latest race to come in, 3:25. On number 2 Beaumont, 9-1. Second, number 5 Crackling Syke, at 20-1. And third, number 1 Sovereign Page, 7-4 favourite.
We're with Mr. John Pearce, the happy owner here, all the way from Hong Kong. A marvellous result for you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very kind of you.
He's a funny old horse, isn't he? He likes to bite other horses when they try to pass him sometimes.
Well, that was several years ago, and the press are too unkind, I think.
But he's really had to battle on today to win.
Yeah, no, he won a good race. He really did, yeah.
What would be the plan for him now after this, would you?
Well, we'll probably go for Goodwood Cup again, but we haven't actually got too many plans.
Yeah, this was the plan, I've
This
heard.
was the plan, right.
Because you live in Hong Kong, how much
Yeah.
time do you get to come over here to see your horses?
2.5 months, yeah.
And so when you're here, Jeff tries to run the horses to sort of fit in. Is that
No, we try and win whenever they can win.
And how much of a surprise is it to you to beat the great horse Vintage Crop?
But not so surprising, because he ran a very good race when he was second 2 years ago. And last year the going was wrong. Every race he ran in, because he likes it on the firm side. So he's a better horse than people think.
General Monash still drifting out here, 15-8 from 6-4. Then Princely Hush, 5-2. Mind Games drifting 11-4 from 9-4. Shamanic, good money for him, 14-1 into 9-1. The gamble on Mungai developing, 20-14. And Stato 1 clipped from 20-1 to 16-1.
Let's go to number 2, Mind Games. There he is, the mount of John Carroll. He's trained by sprint specialist Jack Berry. Was very impressive when winning the Brocklesby at Doncaster, that was back in March, and then went on to win his only other race, that was a fortnight ago at Beverley, beating King of Munster rather snugly by 4 lengths. And that form, I don't think it's too bad, although it was only a small race. There were some decent animals in it, John, wasn't there?
Yes, and he hadn't run since March the 24th, Jimmy. And that race at the beginning of the month should have just put him right for this much tougher test in the Norfolk Stakes. Jack Berry has plenty of useful 2-year-olds, and he knows which ones to bring to Ascot. The ones he brings here usually give a very good account of themselves.
He looked very well too. He's beautifully turned out by Jack Berry, who always has his horses looking well. There's Shamanic just going round behind the stalls. He'll be coming out of stall 4. He's winner of his first 2 starts at Windsor and then at Chester, but found that Silka Blanca 3.5 lengths too good for him. That was in the Woodcott at Epsom. There's a lot of speed, and he won't mind the ground, John.
Now he comes back to 5 furlongs here, having been tried over 6 at Epsom, which of course is a very fast 6, but from a long way out, Silka Blanca was running over him that day. But he seems to like fast ground, this horse. He won on fast ground at Chester.
Let's have a look at number 6. This is Stato 1, disappointed a shade on his course debut when beaten one of the 8 runners home. That was in a maiden at Newmarket. But made no mistake at Doncaster over the day's 5. We've got General Monash 15-8, Princely Hush at 11-4, also on 11-4 is Mind Games, 9-1 bar those 3. Well, it's going to be a quickie, Peter.
That's it, under orders, and they're away. Shamanic very fast away, and Shamanic, the early leader. Shamanic, Stato 1 over on the far side, on the near side, Mind Games. Just in behind Mind Games, General Monash, closest to us. Shamanic, the leader. Shamanic from Stato 1. Mind Games, right over on the far side, Princely Hush. Shamanic, the leader. As they come down to the 2-pole, Shamanic from Mind Games. Mind Games comes to take it up now off Shamanic, and it's Mind Games from Shamanic. General Monash under pressure. Mind Games, the leader, as they race into the final furlong. It's Mind Games Mind Games, is this going to be Jack Berry's first ever 2-year-old winner? He's swerved across the course. Has he hampered Shamanic in the process? Mind Games is first past the post, but there'll be an inquiry here. Second Shamanic, and third is General Monash, and 4 was Princely Hush, 5 was Mongai, and 6 was Stado One. There'll be an inquiry here to determine whether Mind Games first past the post has in any way interfered with the impetus of Shamanic. If he hasn't, well, Jack Berry has won his first race ever at Royal Ascot. First past the post, number 2, Mind Games, owned by Mr. Robert Hughes, trained by Jack Berry and ridden by John Carroll. Second was number 5, Shamanic, owned by Mr. Robert Russell, trained by Richard Hannon and ridden by Frankie Dettori. Third was number 1, General Monash, owned by Mr. Robert Sangster, trained by Peter Chapelheim, ridden by John Reed. And fourth was number 4, Princely Hush.
What a difference the ground makes. General Monash always struggling once he came off the bridle. John Reed pushing the panic button here, changes his reins, finds nothing. Now, Mind Games takes the lead here from Shamanic. But as John Carroll lets him down, you'll see he drifts right away to the right. Although John's got his whip in his right hand, despite that, having hit the front, Mind Games drifts over to the far rails, and as you see, takes Shamanic with him, and the other horse too, and in that sort of sandwich is Princely Hush. But having said that, the second horse just might have lugged a little bit as well. Mind Games giving Jack Berry, Steward's inquiry permitting, his first success at Royal Ascot. He's waited so long, it'd be tragic to lose it in the Steward's room. John Carroll thrusts his hand in the air, clenched his fist as he passed the post. And what a marvellous moment for him, but there may be some anxious moments ahead, because this is the head-on view of what happened. The winner, Mind Games, with the noseband, one from the right. The horse with the white face is Shamanic, Frankie Dettori, and this is what happens. As they're let down, Frankie's waving his whip there. You can see, despite the fact that John Carroll has his whip in his right hand, here he seems to be running straight enough, but now he just starts to drift to the right, but maybe Frankie's horse is just drifting a little bit to the left as well. It could have been 6 of one and half a dozen of another, but he definitely does drift to the right across there, no doubt about that. But in doing so, did he improve his position? That's the crucial question. You couldn't accuse John Carroll of careless riding because he had his whip in his right hand. Did he improve his position? I think the stewards would take the view that he did not.
So, John Carroll acknowledges the applause, and Jack Berry at last has a runner first past the post at the Royal Meeting. Staggering when you think of his amazing successes with 2-year-olds, that he's never yet scored until today. Jack in his customary red shirt, still smiling despite the public address announcement of a steward's inquiry pending. Well, I think the general view is that he's got every chance of the result being maintained, but let's hear the starting prices with the reminder that there is an inquiry in progress.
First, number 2, Mind Games, 5-2. Second, number 5, Shamanic, 10-1. And third, number 1, General Monash, 2-1 favourite. 6 ran. Remember, there is a steward's inquiry.
Point after the race was the amazing incident just inside the final furlong pole. Look now to the left of your screen, where a spectator suddenly dashes across the track from underneath the rail, only to be hit full force by the oncoming Papago.